Firstly, any news on Patrick Roberts? Has he had a scan? Do we know how serious the injury is?
The scans today, it's the other side to the hamstring he did earlier in the season, but it's very similar. So it's obviously a real sore one for us to take, because we tried to manage his minutes, and we're managing a calf, and then we've managed to get a hamstring. So it's horrible for Paddy and the team, to be honest.
It is a big blow. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, especially when you look at the makeup of the team, left and right sided. The absence of Patrick on that right-hand side is significant. Yeah,
look, since I've come, he's not been available much, has he? And so we've lost a big asset. And you've seen, obviously, at the weekend, I thought he was very good, and then he came on the other night and created a couple of big moments for us. So it is a miss, but it's a big chance for Romain to step up now. Abdullah's played well in that position as well, so we'll find a solution within the squad, I'm sure.
Have you done the autopsy on the game on Wednesday night? There were a couple of issues that you sort of highlighted afterwards. One is robustness. I think Sorba Thomas came out and said that they knew they could bully Sunderland. And the other was the set pieces. You were talking about conceding goals from set pieces.
Well, look, the first comment we don't like, and we'll have to take it, because if that's what people feel, then we're going to have to get rid of that thing. If teams are thinking they can run after us and press us and be aggressive, and we're not up for the fight, well, then we have to respond to that for sure. It's interesting, teams don't want to play a football match with us, for example. They want to get up and at us, and I think they've undersold themselves there. I thought they were decent on the night, and so they went away with a 3 points. So we'll leave that game where it is. In terms of the set plays, that's where the big issues were we faced the other night. They've hit the post and had one off the line, offset plays as well, and it's an area that we're going to have to improve on. I think everyone can see that. The makeup of the team might help us as well in terms of some of the players that we maybe picked that will help us be bigger and stronger in those areas. And it's a matter of everybody's focus and concentration. But it's not that, it's in both boxes as well. We get more corners than we give away. We probably get as many free kicks as we give away as well, so we need to be more potent in both boxes.
I mean, generally speaking, you've not got an issue in defence. I mean, you don't concede many goals, and you've got some continuity there, if you like. And part of that continuity is Luke and Dan, but they're now both on 9 yellow cards. And I know you've spoken about the chances of them actually reaching the amnesty without getting the suspensions. It's probably quite narrow.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly in the way the second half was played, when the game's open and people have to defend 1v1. What we don't want to be doing is chasing games of football, and that's where my frustration is with the goal we concede the other night, because okay, not everything's going our way. It won't always go our way in the Championship. Huddersfield have come, we're the away team. There's an element of, in the first half, you have to compete in the duels. We could do that better, but at 35 minutes to concede off that set play when we'd had one or two openings ourselves, it's disappointing. Then we're chasing a game, and then the game looks very open and not how we want it to look. We're still a team that goes away from home and has the lion's share of possession and the same amount of shots and opportunities, and we come away, and that's why the focus has to be on the set play, because it's an isolated moment in the game where I think any team in the world can be good at them. So it's important that we are, and at the moment we're not good enough.
Are you comfortable as well with that balance of being predominantly left-sided when in terms of setting up the team?
Well, look, we have to work on our right side. We lost our main starter, if you like, but then for Abdullah and for Romain, that's a big opportunity, if you like, and we've scored a few goals down that side of late. Obviously, Abdullah's been in decent enough form, so we have to find a solution with the players we've got. I think we've got enough talent in the room. I think we're at a stage of the season where naturally there'll be some doubts, because there 5 teams within 1 point of each other, so there's 5 coaches probably feeling the same at the moment. Results are not going perfect for anybody. What's important is that we find the resilience that we need, the mental stamina that we need, but we don't go into the games feeling down or too high from the previous game. We have to reset. It will be a different problem for us to solve this weekend. We're looking forward to going down to Birmingham for this game and showing a response, and that's our focus now. And we need to get to the March international break within touching distance or within a shooting chance, and then after that, then every game's a cup final, isn't it? But at this moment in time, it's not a moment for panic. It's actually a moment for, okay, take a deep breath. There's some areas we can improve in. I still would prefer to be Sunderland manager than the manager of some of the other clubs that are in that fight. So it's positive. I think we have to go into each game knowing that this league is relentless, and it's important that we stick true to what we're good at.
Talk about looking forward to going to Birmingham. Of course, there's another storyline that runs parallel to the football, and that's Tony Mowbray's there, and he'll have something to prove. Birmingham need the win because they're fighting, relegation, luckily, and you need the win because you want to get into the top 6. It's a potent mix. Yeah,
look, firstly, I don't think Tony has anything to prove to the Sunderland fans or the people here. I think that our fans will show their class, and he didn't get a chance to say goodbye either, so that's natural. And then we'll play the game, and we're Sunderland versus Birmingham. It's a big game, so I think the niceties, and which I think should happen as well before the game, will definitely happen, and then it's about us going there and getting a result. I think every team in this league's got something to play for, and again, the league's relentless. We've got 1 or 2 lads who are a bit sore. We need to check on 1 or 2 this morning in terms of selection, and so that will give opportunities to 1 or 2 others maybe. It's going to be a squad game when you play 3 games in a week and have the travels that we had. So look, it's not a time for us to be down or debate the last game anymore. That last game's gone. We can only respond on Saturday afternoon with a stronger away performance than we showed on Wednesday.
Are you mindful as well, and we talked about this with the Newcastle game, the players have got to play the match and take their eye off what's happening around the game? Because there have been occasions, Newcastle was one example, where I think the occasion got to the team, and you can't allow that to happen now, the position that you're in.
No, we've just got to play every 3 points. We can't look too far ahead. You're right in saying that. Our mentality's got to be 1 game at a time, and if we take care of our results, then the rest of the league will help us out, I'm sure, because we don't want to be relying on anybody else. Where we are now, there's 5 teams in the mix for maybe 1, stroke 2 if we can pull West Brom back down. There's a lot of football to be played. We don't want to get too high or too low. After a win, we think we fixed everything. After a defeat, it's horrible. I think our team needs to constantly refocus. Each game's a different challenge. The Championship is very much a Pandora's box in terms of styles and the way the games are played, and the form guide often goes out the window, certainly at this time of the season. The most important thing for us is that our mentality, our attitude and our energy are spot on every single game. And it's not always going to go our way, in terms of the balance of possession and the balance of the way the games go. It's not going to go our way, but we need to find ways of winning more football matches and going on a run. It's clear that at some stage we're going to have to go on a run if we're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, the point I was going to make as well there, you just sort of touched on it, the way that Birmingham will play. Tony knows your players inside out. I mean, is that an advantage from his perspective?
I think we'll find out after the game. Obviously, it's clear that he knows our players. Maybe there'll be 1 or 2 playing that have a point to prove to him as well. You don't know. These things in football. It's the lovely things that happen. What I would say is there's a lot of respect for Tony Mowbray here at Sunderland, and I think the fans will show that, and the players will show that to him and the staff that worked with him before the game, and then it will be a right ding-dong battle, I'm sure.
It's going to be a ding-dong afternoon, I think, on the terraces as well. I mean, are you expecting a warm welcome, being the former Aston Villa coach?
Possibly, but they're trying to sell out the stadium to make an atmosphere, which gives you the idea of importance it is for them. We've got some extra tickets out of them, and we'll sell out we'll do our part as well. I think we have to find whatever problem Birmingham give us, we have to find an answer to at the weekend. I think it'll be a football game. I think that's for sure. There's 3 or 4 players in their squad that I've worked with before that are really good technical players, so I'm expecting Birmingham to improve week in, week out with the players they've got and the coaching staff.
Michael, with the question of bullying, which I think there's 2 sides to, and some people think maybe it is an issue, some people maybe don't. But I mean, you mentioned you've got to stand up to that. How do you do that?
Well, listen, I felt in the first half the other night we didn't move the ball quick enough. Like, we had the ball. I thought they started quite well. They're quite a direct team and they play off set plays. It doesn't help when you give a set play away within 30 seconds of the kick-off, you know, because they're fans and the way the game is. But I felt in midfield we wanted one or two touches too many for the speed they were pressing. So if we move the ball quicker, if we play forward quicker and we run off the ball, they're all the things. But there's no doubt in the midfield battle at times you have to compete. I didn't see Luke O'Nien or Dan Ballard or Trey Hume or Leo Hjelde get bullied. I wouldn't come away from the game and say that. I thought as a back four, the two centre-halves were decent in the game. I thought Trey had another good game again. And the flow of the game second half was open, but it was certainly us being positive and pushing. So look, if another team think they can do that within the realms of the game, then if they're competing and challenging and they feel that on set plays that we're weak, then we've got to respond to that. You know, it's nice that their coaches mentioned that to one or two of our coaches afterwards, and I'm not happy about that outlook. Our players have to take that on the chin, don't they, as feedback. But I don't think any team's going to stand off us and let us play lovely football, because I think what teams have realised the last few months is if you stand off Sunderland, you've got a massive issue. So I think teams are going to find problems. That was always the way. The more we get respect, now we're back in this league. We did really well last year. We're in a really good position this year, and we play a certain style of football, and we're a younger team in the league, or the youngest team across the football league. Teams are going to look at ways to create issues and problems for you. So that's for us to keep evolving and improving, and that's what we're trying to do. And I wouldn't read too much into those comments. I think what we have to do is show that that's not the case.
A couple of players I just wanted to mention. Is Callum Styles ready to be involved this weekend? And you mentioned Romain as one of the options for the right-hand side. Not a great deal of football in his legs this season. Is he ready to be considered to start?
On Callum's will be second full session today, so we'll have to see. There's a bit of tenderness there, but by next week it would be 100%. So it's just a decision whether he makes the bench, and then how much he could play. Obviously, because he's a bit of an unknown to us in that sense that he's only had a couple of sessions. He's a very good football player, by the way. In terms of Romain, it's a possibility that one or two, certainly with the way the week's gone and the minutes they've had, are going to have to share the minutes this weekend. I think that's fair to say that you may see Romain and Abdullah sharing some minutes in that position. And there's Mason and Naz, Adil's pushing as well, Chris Riggs pushing in the midfield. So it's going to have to be a real team effort, because it's the third game in a short period of time, and Birmingham have had a couple of extra days rest in between. They played Friday and they played Tuesday. So we're going to need everybody. It's going to have to be a real team effort this weekend.
One just slightly off that. You don't know if you're aware, but Jack Clark's agent on a certain platform said this week, hopefully we see Jack move this summer. I suppose what is your response when you hear that sort of comment?
That's the first time I've heard that. Listen, agents have got a job to do, and an agent represents Jack. It's important that he represents Jack in the right way, and I'm sure Jack feels he does, but Jack's already reiterated that he's extremely happy here just last week, so this is going to be an ongoing saga, I think, to the summer. At this moment in time, the window's closed. Jack's here, he's our player, he's one of the best players in the league. He looks happy to me, so let's just focus on that. And someone's got to pay the money that we would want, and it's got to be the right club for Jack. At this moment in time, we are certainly the right club for Jack right now.
Morning, Michael. In terms of this particular game, you were full of praise for Tony Mowbray when you took over, acknowledging everything he'd done here and the respect he deserved. But you obviously said that you were your own man and you'd be making tweaks. So I suppose you accept that there'll be extra scrutiny on the sort of tactical side of what the two of you do with your teams on match day.
Yeah, maybe. Like I've watched Tony's teams for a number of years. He had a couple of players that I had at Liverpool go on loan to his team all the way back to when he was coach at Coventry. So he's been in the league a long time. He's got a lot of experience. He knows how to play in this league, and I think he's taken on a project down there slightly different to the one here where he left. He was at the top of the league. Down there now at Birmingham, they're fighting in a scrap. But I look at the squad and the players they've got. Some of the players that I've worked with, like Andre Dazelle, Ethan Laird, Tyler Roberts, really good football players. So I've got no issue they're going to be okay. But it's important we put a dent in that this weekend. As I say, Tony's a coach that a lot of people in the game have got respect for. I certainly have, and everyone here at Sunderland. But When it gets to 3 o'clock on Saturday, that gets pushed offside for the 90 or 100 minutes, whatever it is.
And I suppose you'd be thinking that some of the tactical tweaks you've made perhaps are sort of coming out better in the home games rather than the away games.
Well, look, it's, as I say, there's lots of problems to solve in football. When I came in, one of the issues was we maybe were playing possession in front of teams and teams were sitting back and causing an issue. So after Saturday's result against Plymouth, certainly the second half where we scored 3 goals and played really fast and running football in a period of the game where we score 3 goals and take the result away from them, that's really pleasing. Then you go away from home where a team are up and in your face, and we found another problem we've got to solve. That's football, you know. As soon as there's always another thing round the corner. In general, defensively, in open play, I've been pleased with the team overall. I think we've been hard to play against at times, you know. And I've seen improvements in players like Jack Clark since I've come in, Abdullah Bar, in their pressing and their aggression to get around the pitch. So we've seen that, but then the set plays comes out of nowhere. We hadn't conceded for 9 games from a set play until we went to Ipswich, and then that's been the situation that we've had. So that's the thing with coaching a team. You know, as soon as you think you crack something else appears. What we're looking for is the complete performance, and as time goes on, I'd like to think we're going to get closer to that.
And do you think up front a big key is to get more bodies into the box, particularly away from home? Yeah,
and certainly, like, if I look in the last 10 or 15 minutes on Wednesday night, like, you know, when Paddy gets down the side, we have got 3 or 4 in the box, but it don't seem to fall for us. And listen, we've got to keep working on those aspects of our game. Can we get a midfielder runner in there? You know, can we get our opposite wide player attacking the far post more often? They're the things that are missing from our game, and they're fine details in you know. When Trey goes through the other night, it's a big opportunity. Their keeper makes a big save on the set play. Are we alive enough to the second ball? Could we block the shot? Could we get out quicker? We seem to be getting hit at the moment, but when I look at the league table, I can't be the only coach feeling like that, because it's so tight. Every point is so important. The message I want to send today is that every single 3 points we have to go for, and it's not going to be perfect. We need to get to the March international break within shooting distance, where we are now, slightly better off if we can, and then after that international break down, that's when these positions are going to be decided. We know we went on a late run last year. If anything, we need to draw on that experience that we had last year and the understanding that we went into the last game to win, to get in, or to defeat and finish mid-table. So we know it's going to go to the wire. This year in the Championship, the points tally that we're going to need is going to be greater than last year, I believe, because if you look, everybody this year, it's a stronger league for sure. You know, you look at the top 3 and where they're taking it, or the top 4, there's only really a couple of the playoff positions available at the moment. So there's 6 or 7 teams in that fight, and we're one of them. So this ain't a time for doubt. This is a time for actually resetting, making sure our mentality's strong, and going to Birmingham and giving it everything. And that's the clear message to the group also.
Finally, from me, you talked last month about getting perhaps a few more grey hairs in the dressing room. You didn't get that, but I suppose you're looking for leadership qualities in what is obviously a very young team, but more players with those leadership qualities, particularly when things aren't going well as they did the other night.
Yeah, look, I thought Dan Ballard and Luke O'Nien, they're starting to show that a lot, and I think as the days go on, like, you might not have a Corey Evans in the changing room on a match day, but he's certainly in the changing room during the week. Everyone's involved and behind this team. What I would say it's a lot said about our young team, okay, and we can use that as an excuse, or we can see it as that it's a vibrant young team that's got a lot of potential. And when you've played the last 30 or 40 games in the Championship, I'm not sure you're inexperienced in the Championship no more. I think we've got a team that's quite experienced in this league. You know, we're bringing someone into it in the next week or so in Callum Stiles, who's played over 125 games in the league, and he's 23 and he's a full international. How much experience do you need to have? If we're talking about application to duels and things like that, well, I don't mind if you're 16 or you're 36. That's about application. That's a different thing altogether. So I'm not happy with the comments we received, but we've received them. I think now what we have to do is show a response.
Michael, you've heard obviously the comparison between yourself and Tony Mowbray, so quite touched on that, but given this game and the time it comes in the season, is it actually more important to you, just given the context of your season and getting into those playoffs, given how tight the teams are in and around you?
Yeah, well, me and Tony won't play this weekend. You know what I mean? We're not going out there on the pitch. He's a far better player than me in his career as well, so that would have been a mismatch. But we're not going out there to play this weekend. This would be our players versus theirs. Away form is niggling us, to be honest. We've not taken enough. Is it 11 points or since September or something? We've took 7 recently, but we're still not taking enough. I don't think that we feel that we should have taken. So the most important thing is we're going away from home. We need to set up to be strong, good defensively, and when we have the ball, we need to take the game to Birmingham, because the points are huge at the moment. As I say, we can only take care of our own games. We can't look elsewhere for any help, and so we get another opportunity in 24, 48 hours time.
You mentioned a little while ago that you'd taken the new signings over for dinner. Well, just how far have they settled in since that time? Obviously, a lot of them have had minutes now, so are they really getting to grips with your styles of play? Yeah,
listen, Leo's been thrown straight in the deep end, isn't he? So, you know, he's come from not playing much football to going straight in. I think we've seen the good and indifferent from Leo. I think we've seen some really positive parts of his game, but I think there's more he can show, certainly in possession. So we're looking to see that. I think he'll grow in a Sunderland shirt the more he's with us, but I think everyone's been optimistic from what they've seen. Romain he's young in terms of senior football as well. Like, he's not completed 90 minutes as a first team player yet, for example, but he's got really good speed, good agility, can play on the left and the right, could play through the middle as well. He wants to run behind. I think we've seen in the 2 cameos that there's definitely something there for us to keep pushing with. And Callum's not had that opportunity yet, but I know that he's a player that would come in and, for example, if he was fully fit this weekend, he would give us options in 2 or 3 positions. So that's what we've done in terms of strengthening. Their Sunderland careers are going to grow with every game, ain't they?